Howdy, Vine Trippers. I wanted to take just a moment to talk to you about the Texas Wine Lover website and their phone app for both iPhones as well as Google devices. You can actually download this app, put it on your phone, or just go to the website if you're not an app person. And if you ever want to go visit some of these great locations that we've been talking about in the podcast, this will give you a great information about the place before you go. And you'll be able to find other wineries in the area. So if you want to make a day of it, go see several other places as well. You can search by region. You can sort the listings, find ones that are kid-friendly, family-friendly, even ones that host RVs. All kinds of different sortable listings you can find there in that app and on the website. You can find other things as well in the area like restaurants, accommodations, maybe events that are going on at the different wineries. So it's your one-stop resource that goes hand in hand with this podcast to be able to find those great places to go visit. So check out the Texas Wine Lover website. It's txwinelover.com. Or go to their app. You can find it on the Google Play Store or the Apple Store as well. Enjoy your trips among the vines and use that app. Welcome to Texas Under Vine, an exploratory podcast to scout out the best that Texas wine country has to offer. I'm your wine guide, Scott, and I'm here to lead you on an auditory expedition to the vineyards and wineries across the great Lone Star State. Each episode will cover a different vineyard, winery, or wine-related business operating in Texas. You'll hear interviews, descriptions, and details about each location that will excite you to visit and experience them for yourself. Ready to plan a wine tour? Use these episodes to choose the most interesting spots for you and your friends to check out. Most of all, enjoy hearing about the rapidly growing wine industry in the state and what makes our wines and wineries the best. Howdy, fellow Vine Tripper. Welcome to bonus episode 4 for Texas Under Vine. As you may know, if you're an avid listener, ever so often, I will divert from my normal content of interviewing different wine destinations, and I will do some sort of an episode or interview about something that's kind of what I call wine adjacent, businesses or events or things that are not necessarily a wine destination per se, but have a big impact on the wine industry here in Texas. And today is no exception. I have a real treat for you today as I was able to go out and interview the organizers of the newly revamped Fredericksburg Food and Wine Festival that's going to be taking place in October of 2024. Now, food and wine festivals aren't new to the wine industry. As a matter of fact, most of the major AVAs, or American Vitinological Areas in the United States, actually have some sort of a food and wine festival in that particular AVA or area to celebrate the wines and the foods that they have in that particular area. And actually, the TTB, the Tax and Trade Bureau, who is the governmental body that actually appoints and gives the full permit to establishment of new AVAs, or American Vitinological Areas, that's one of the things they look for when they're analyzing that is there a wine culture in the area? And a lot of times to determine if there's a wine culture for an AVA, they will look for things like food and wine festivals. You may remember back in my episode with Fall Creek Vineyards when I spoke to Sergio Quadra, he actually spoke of how Ed and Susan Aller were basically responsible and headed up and spearheaded getting the Texas Hill Country AVA established. And that was one of the things they needed to show it was a wine region, was Susan started a Hill Country Food and Wine Festival and ran that for a few years just to be able to establish and say, yes, there is a wine presence here in this particular area. So the Fredericksburg Food and Wine Festival is no stranger to the area. It's actually been around since 1991, but over the last 10 to 15 years, the region has changed so much. There's been so much growth, so many new wineries, so many new partners and players that it just really needed a revamp. So the Fredericksburg Chamber of Commerce actually tasked Hayley Wakefield to head this project up to organize and present this brand new revamped Fredericksburg Food and Wine Festival here in 2024. Now, as part of her job duties, she actually has appointed several people. She's brought in Dave Bryant of Texas Wine Consulting to be her right-hand man about the whole wine scene here. He's got big hands into the Texas wine auction and the Texas wine industry here in Central Texas especially. So he's a great resource and a great source of all kinds of information for her, specifically on the wine side. However, the Fredericksburg Food and Wine Festival is not just going to be about wine and food. They're also going to have things like craft beer, distilleries involved. They're really wanting to focus in on the local culture of food and wine and beverage in the area, really highlight some of these amazing producers that we have throughout the Hill Country area and showcase those in a very elevated type of experience. And along that line, this isn't your regular festival with corny dogs and funnel cakes and carnival rides and things like that. No, this is a real elevated experience. You're going to get some incredible culinary bites and taste some great wines and beers from local chefs and people who have come up right here in the Texas Hill Country area. As a matter of fact, there's going to be a culinary demo stage where you can actually learn from some of those amazing chefs. If you get your tickets to that demo stage, there's only a handful for each of the different presentations, but you can actually go in and get your hands on with some of these amazing chefs that are providing great food. Now, there's also going to be a wine showcase area sponsored by the Texas Wine Auction. And as you go into this area, you'll be able to taste wines from 30 to 50 different local wineries. And you'll be able to sample all kinds of different things, pair them with the different food bites that you get throughout the festival. And if you find one of those that you really like, there's even going to be a chance to bid on the possibility of getting a case of one of those favorite wines that you tasted there. And all of those proceeds benefit the Texas Wine Auction and the incredible charities that they support. In addition, they're going to have a whole area just about sparkling wines. They're going to have areas, for, like I said, for craft beer, distilling. They're even going to have a cool little mixology area sponsored by Becker Vineyards where you can kind of mix and make your own blend of wine. Now, Hayley and Dave have made a really important gesture, I think, for this particular festival in that they are really wanting this to be local, to celebrate the local area. So all people who are participating in the festival, whether it's chefs or winemakers or distilleries or whoever it may be, they must be members of the Fredericksburg Chamber of Commerce and be local to the area. So not bringing in people from all over outside of the place to be showcasing these things, but these are all local foods, local eats, local drinks to really make it specific to the Texas Hill Country of Fredericksburg. And what's even better is you can also feel good in knowing that every dollar that you spend with the Fredericksburg Food and Wine Festival is actually going to charity. So they're a 501c3. You'll hear more about that in the interview. And they plan to donate proceeds to some great charities that support, especially the food and wine businesses in the local area. And one of my favorite things is that the night before the actual day of the festival, they're going to host this really cool, amazing 160-seat paired dinner, and it's going to be blocked off in the middle of the street in downtown Fredericksburg on Austin Street, and you'll be able to sit out with the lights and out on this in the middle of the street that's blocked off and enjoy these incredible bites served and paired with some amazing wines from local Texas producers. And that's going to be a really cool, fun, elegant event that they haven't really seen before at an event like this here in Fredericksburg. That is definitely an event that you don't want to miss. Now, all thanks to Arrowhead Creek Vineyard. They provided a place for me to actually be able to sit down and speak to Hayley and Dave for a little while to get all the incredible details of this upcoming Food and Wine Festival so that you can be ready to get your badges and experience this in October. So without further ado, let's go to that interview and hear what they have planned. Howdy, Vine Trippers. Welcome to this bonus episode of Texas Under Vine. And today I'm here with Dave and Hayley with the Fredericksburg Food and Wine Festival. So we're going to talk to them a little bit and learn a little bit about this incredible event that's going to be taking place in October. So hopefully you'll enjoy this time with them. So first off, either of you can go. It's up to you. But tell me a little bit about yourself. What got you involved in the Food and Wine Festival?
I'll kick us off. I moved here with my family from Austin about 2 years ago. We've always loved Fredericksburg. and had dreamt about moving out here forever, but never really had a reason to until COVID hit. My husband and I started our own marketing firm just out of our house, catering to food, bev, and hospitality industries, doing a lot of their organic and paid social, direct-to-consumer stuff. And a lot of our clients ended up being in the Hill Country because this area really, really blew up during that time. So we found ourselves driving back and forth a ton, finally able to move here. And I have a with the marketing background in digital marketing prior to COVID, also did a lot of in-person events and activations in Austin. So I'd always been really excited about all the festivals happening in the Hill Country. It's a very small town in Fredericksburg in the sense that there is a festival of some kind literally every single weekend here. And I love food and wine festivals. I've been to Charleston, Austin, Fort Worth, someday I'll go to Aspen, been to a couple in Napa. So I thought that there was a big opportunity here to really elevate the event scene when it came to food and wine here. So about earlier this year, I got approached by the Fredericksburg Chamber of Commerce as an agency to see if we could revamp it. So that's kind of how I got involved in this world. And then Dave was on the steering committee.
Yeah, so I got to know Jim, the new CEO of the chamber. We shared kind of similar background in hotel and restaurant management, so we kind of clicked instantly. And originally I was talking to the chamber about supporting the Texas wine auction. It's another event that we throw that's amazing. And it kind of turned into an invite onto the steering committee. And it's been a blast to work with that whole team, Hayley, specifically with throwing an event and taking something that's happened in Fredericksburg for a long time and completely revamping it in a way that I think is going to really kind of blow people's socks off. And then integrating some of that wine side that kind of I bring to the table and with the partnership through auction to do something that I think adds kind of a unique spin to the Food and Wine Festival, the charity aspect. But we're really excited. I think it's, the preview week that's coming here soon is going to be incredibly successful. And I think we're really going to kind of set the standard for what a Food and Wine Festival looks like in Fredericksburg and hopefully eventually Hill Country and eventually Texas.
Yeah. So the festival has been going on for roughly just over 30 years.
Okay, that was going to be my next question. Tell me the history of
perfect.
it. So you led right into it.
Okay, good. Well, so it's been around for a long time, which is really cool. But Fredericksburg is growing up really, really fast. And, like I mentioned, with that, the festival kind of has to keep up too. So this is a really cool year where we're going to see a total rebrand, total revamp. And like Dave mentioned, it's going to be unlike anything this area has ever experienced. Which is really exciting. And we have a strong steering committee behind us. So it's produced by the Fredericksburg Chamber of Commerce. I'm on the committee kind of planning, doing the logistics and partnerships and marketing. And then there's Dave. We have a representative from Grape Creek, HEB, the city. Yeah, it's really great people.
It's a really good group that all, I think, want to do the best thing for town, right? And want to throw an event that they're all really proud of and have been incredibly supportive. And I think with, their time, obviously, but purchasing tickets and marketing and donating wine. And it's been really cool to kind of be surrounded by that group. And I think Jim did a really good job kind of handpicking that group of over 7 or 8 people that really want to do something special and are willing to put their time and effort into it to make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
Well, tell us about the upcoming Food and Wine Festival. So what are some of the key highlights and things that people can expect at the festival?
Oh my gosh. Okay. How much time do we have?
There's a lot. We're packing a lot into like 2 days.
I know. I'm like, okay, so walk in to the right. There's going to be some porta potties. Just kidding. There'll be cute porta potties. More on that later. Every aspect will be beautiful. So part of my goal is how do I make this the most Instagrammable event in the Texas Hill Country? Ideally we have everyone with their phones out taking pictures and sharing and creating some really great organic conversation that drives tourism and supports the area as a whole, and of course helps the festival grow. So we'll have a VIP area that's sponsored by Augusta Vin, and if you haven't been out there yet, you have to go. You feel like you're in Italy. And then to the left, when you walk in, we'll have a culinary demo stage where that'll be an add-on experience. So we'll actually have tables in front of the stage where people will be able to sit and interact with the food, whoever's teaching on stage. So they'll be able to eat and taste alongside, the culinary experience happening in front of them. And we have some pretty great chef lineups that I won't announce just yet.
Okay.
You have to sign up for our newsletter to get that information. We'll release them soon. And then we have, of course, our Grand Tasting Pavilion, and that's in partnership with Texas Wine Auction. So in there, you can expect roughly 30 to 50 wineries tasting, doing pours. And when you arrive to the festival, everybody will get a wine glass. So you'll have your wine glass to get pours. In there, we'll also have cheese pairings and little nibbles kind of throughout to make sure we're all staying classily tipsy. And then Signor is actually popping up right by that space with they're taking out their Joanna's Market. And if you haven't been out there, they have a beautiful sundry shop called Joanna's Market. They'll create a little pop-up sundry shop as well on site at the festival. We'll have a little yard game area, and then continuing on through the festival, a beautiful beer garden, a craft beverage demo stage. So we'll have some mixology involved, and then a blending competition with Becker, calling that Blend It Like Becker, which I think is really cute. And we have a teaser event during preview week at Becker as well to kind of showcase what that's going to be like at the festival. We'll be doing smash burgers on Fredericksburg cast irons with Acre Barbecue. Hill and Vine will be out there with Das Barbas, which is their really cute VW van, either doing cocktails or some kind of wonderful thing. Hill and Vine just does it really well. And then we'll have a distillery area. Revel Kitchen and Catering is going to pop up and be doing kind of an interactive Argentinian grill thing that's going to be delicious. And then we'll have about 25 culinary pop-ups as well. So that's kind of something that had been missing in the past, was when you think food festivals in Fredericksburg, you think footlong corn dogs, turkey legs, funnel cakes, they're delicious. But for a food and wine festival, we really, really want to hone in on culinary innovation.
Elevated experiences.
Elevated. So with the purchase of a badge, not only are you getting to taste all the wines, mini cocktails with the distilleries, beer in the beer garden. That's what I forgot, I think. But you'll also get pretty hefty bites from all these really nice culinary chefs and restaurants in the Texas Hill Country.
The sparkling garden.
Oh my gosh, I just it's a good.
It's going to be nuts.
Yes, that's
what is it about Heath Sparkling?
What isn't it about Heath Sparkling? So there we have this really beautiful sparkling garden. So that is Heath's space. So they'll be tasting out all of their sparklings in that space. Think very girly. There's a lot of floral, just like a beautiful, if Martha Stewart's Garden and Gun, Southern Living were to have this outdoor space with Heath, that's, just put a visual.
Gotcha.
That's what you can experience in there.
Yeah, it's gonna be amazing. Yeah. And for Texas Wine Auction, those 30 to 50 wineries, you're actually going to be able to come in and bid to buy a case of that wine that you taste.
Okay. So these are all local wineries.
Yeah. So it's
okay.
The vast majority of them will be within the Texas Hill Country.
Okay.
All of them are chamber members, which is, I think, an amazing way that they come in and support the chamber and support town, and that they in turn get support from them. But it's going to be a really cool way to not just come and taste wine, but have an opportunity to bid on something and actually go to the winery later, have it shipped to your house, and support a really good cost. So it's kind of a really neat, way to take a wine tasting up a notch. Again, a lot of the wineries are going to do something special that's one-off blends that they're only making those 5 cases of. So it's going to be a really, really kind of cool wine-driven event. But again, it's one, phenomenal. It's going to be a blast. 2, like the preview week events, I think are a good example of some of the unique things that we've created, and really Hayley's created and is in charge of executing, which I don't want that job.
No pressure.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. But it shows that kind of we do want to have something that's inventive and unique and really does take it up not just one notch, but 10 or 12 notches. But we're also doing really cool things to support the locals and to give them discounts on tickets and some ways to make sure that they still feel like they can be proud of this. It's not just for tourists, it's for tourists and locals alike, and people that like wine from all over the world. But the physical locations of the wineries will all be within the Texas Hill Country.
And I think that's something that makes the festival unique. You'll see other food and wine related events throughout Texas that do allow Napa wineries, which I love a Napa winery, but this is, Texas. And so we're really trying hard to stay true to local Texas. So as Dave mentioned, you have to be a member of the chamber to participate. And every, we're all within the Hill Country AVA. So that's kind of where we're recruiting from. keeping in mind local and how are we supporting to build up this community. And the whole thing is for charity. So like it's a lot of fun, but it's all for good. So the Food and Wine Festival is its own 501c3 nonprofit. This is the first year that it will have its own 501c3. Right now, our goal is put on a good event, become a sustainable nonprofit. Next year, we will hopefully have the ability to donate a good portion of profits from the festival to a variety of different local organizations that that help local food and wine, in addition to Texas Wine Options. So that's kind of nice knowing, you're partying, having fun, supporting local, but also giving back.
Well, you mentioned a couple of other wine festivals that are around. What really sets apart the Fredericksburg Food and Wine Festival that makes it unique from some of those other places that they could go?
I think for sure the local aspects, only pulling from local. And that goes even like with sponsorships at this point. All of our larger sponsors and partners are all local organizations and companies. And that's, I think, is really unique, a really, really cool thing about being in a small town and, in the surrounding small towns is everybody is so local minded. And really, it's important for them to support local, which I don't think you really get in a lot of the bigger cities. And I want to keep that in mind as we grow this thing, as well. The whole point is to support local.
And you mentioned that small town feel earlier, so you kind of keep that sense about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think letting people see what market plots can look like really dialed up is going to be really impressive and unique. I mean, I think, right, everybody knows what it looks like for Oktoberfest. I mean, there's a lot going on and there's gallons of beer everywhere. This is definitely going to be not necessarily a pretentious version, but a fancier version that shows you, right, like this is kind of, when you get all dolled up, this is what this amazing, historic, very local driven place can be. Which I think is going to be really cool. And I think a lot of locals are going to support it. One, because it goes for great causes, obviously, but two, they get to kind of come out and enjoy something that's totally different that they could experience in an Aspen or a Pebble Beach or a Fort Worth.
Yeah.
But they're doing it in their own backyard, which I think is really, really cool.
Mm-hmm. And it is October's packed with stuff in Fredericksburg, like Oktoberfest. But it's a food and wine, I think, will attract a totally different demographic. In a good way. And I love a good Oktoberfest too. And I will be there in my outfit with all my cups of beer. That's
Your lederhosen.
My lederhosen. I'll dress up my little kids. We'll get our face painted. It'll be great. And that's a really good time. But this will be, you can come in town and go to that and do that. And then I think it's like 2 weeks after, you can dress up again in your Instagrammable worthy outfits and have an equally as amazing time, but a whole different experience. So yeah, we kind of hitting a very different market, offering something very unique and different than what you'd see at really any other festival at Mark Lots. And I think it will wow for people to see like, oh, whoa, I didn't know the park could look like this.
So how long in advance does the planning process take for something like this? And what are some of your biggest challenges you faced?
That's a good question. Usually, I'm just like an obsessive planner coming from the event world. So I'm already thinking 2025 really. But the chamber just inherited the event from the city in February, I believe. And so we didn't get started till about mid-March on things, which we're running pretty fast. So, it's really important to us this year to execute really, really well, of course, because this is the first year in its new iteration. So that's why it's really only one day on Saturday. So we want to go small, but do it very well and thoughtfully. Doesn't mean that there's not a lot of planning. It's like all I really think about aside from my small humans at home. So, there's as many details as there are, and it's a lot. And trying to stay true to being very intentional with our partnerships and making sure we're delivering a good experience to all of the people who are putting money and time into this, not knowing really if it's going to work, which it is. So making sure we're delivering really well on everything we said we would.
Yeah, and you look at like the chefs that are going to be involved, and we have tons and tons of local chefs, and this is a Saturday in October. They're going to have a busy restaurant full, ready to go. So they're really, not necessarily taking a chance, because I think this is obviously it's going to be a home run, but really wanting to support it and wanting to put their best foot forward, and it gives them an opportunity to go play around and do something that may be different than what they normally do, or highlight something that they do so well and kind of take it on the road. So it's kind of it's a cool opportunity to get in front of, we're talking 3,000 to 5,000 people. So this isn't a small event. It's going to be a big event. But I think Marketplace is the perfect spot for it. And given, 25 chefs and 30, 40, 50 wineries and distilleries and breweries, I mean, it really is kind of adult Disneyland for a weekend in front.
Yeah, that's true. And no kids allowed.
Yeah.
At this part.
But you're doing kid stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a good point. Up until this point, we've only talked about the 5-hour.
Yeah. The main
event. But things actually kick off the night before.
Okay.
On Friday night, we're doing a 160-person seated dinner in the middle of the street. So Austin Street is a pretty prominent street in Fredericksburg that's, we're taking over the part between Marktplatz and Bethany Church. So right behind where all the action will happen the next day. So 160-person, one long table, street lights. We'll have 5 different chefs, 5 courses at the Friday night dinner. First course will be with Heath Sparkling, as well as a cocktail by Dietz Distillery. That will be paired with Past Bites by Hill and Vine. Chef Mike Hall, who's a wonderful person. I love him.
And super talented.
Super talented. I just had a big plate of his nachos the other day. Great. And if you haven't been there recently, they're doing bread pudding in a cast iron skillet, but with croissants.
Ooh, interesting.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. It's got to be 10,000 calories, but it's worth it.
It's so good.
Best calories you'll ever eat.
You're going to go big, go big.
Go big. So that's the first course. The second course will be a salad done by Otto's German Bistro, which is a pretty well-known restaurant in Fredericksburg. They've been around for a really long time. Side Street Hospitality. Paired with, do we know what?
It'll be one of the brands from William Chris. So a crisper, lighter white wine. We're still finalizing.
Yeah,
but
still
it's going to be delicious.
And then Hill Country Herb Garden, Chef Jeff, is doing a lovely redfish paired with
Michael Ross. I think they're doing rosé.
Yeah, that's right, rosé. And then Rebel Kitchen and Catering, a delicious meat paired with Augusta Vin, a red, of course. And then final dish will be by a dessert by Keidel Hughes with Keidel Pharmacy out of the Albert Hotel, which is a new hotel opening up as part of the New Waterloo Group. And that'll be paired with a cocktail by Garrison Brothers.
Okay.
Gotta end with some bourbon, obviously. So that's on Friday night. And then things kick off in the morning the next day with Vino Vinyasa. So for our more active festival goers, they'll be doing downward dog and all sorts of other poses while drinking wine. And you'll get brunch nibbles by High Thai, which is kind of cool. You don't really get a lot of Thai food out here, so their stuff is so good. So a Thai-themed brunch with yoga and wine. And then we'll also have an off-site event happening at Fisher and Weezer. They're doing a brunch at Dust Peach House. And if you haven't been out there, you feel like you're in a different country as well. Have you been out there, Dave?
No.
It is so pretty. I don't know what kind of tree, but and the story behind it is crazy. Like generations ago, their grandfather brought all these trees over from, I think, Germany. And I could be getting this wrong, but it's something like this, and planted them out here. So the trees are just like, you don't feel like you're in Texas. And they have B&Bs, I think, on site. And there's a little lake out there. I mean,
wow.
It's really pretty. So brunch will be out there. And then we have a free family-friendly event open to the community. And again, like Dave mentioned, we're trying to make sure we include as many locals as possible. And Dave and I both have 3 kids each. This is something that I think we would like to go to and bring our kids to, and then leave them home for the rest of the day. But Oro Bianco is partnering with us on this. They have a couple locations throughout the Hill Country. They're bringing out their baby water buffalo. I shouldn't say baby. They might be teenagers. They don't know yet.
It's not small.
It's not small. But it's not like African water buffalo.
Right.
People think that that's like they're huge beasts. They're not. They're like sweet little cows, but they're buffalo. And they actually make all of their products with that water buffalo milk. So as we grow as an organization and festival, we really want to start tying in more agriculture components. So this is kind of a nice touch to the agriculture side of things this first year. So they'll have gelato, the water buffalo that people can pet and feed. We'll have Shore Shot, which is a new local coffee company that'll be out there, and some live music. And that's, again, free to the community.
Okay.
And then the main event kicks off. And there will be some kind of cool after party. I just haven't sorted through those details yet. But I kind of want it to just be like word of mouth vibed. So we'll see.
There won't be any booze at that either.
Yeah. No booze.
That's where all the chefs and winemakers will be. So it'll be a party.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. Well, you talked a little bit about a few of the different vendors and things like that. How did you go about choosing the food vendors, the wine vendors? I know you talked they needed to be part of the chamber, but there's a lot of wineries out here. There's a lot of great chefs. How do you go through that process of choosing them?
On the wine side, it's been really cool. I think we've been doing Texas Wine Auction for 3 years now. So we've had 40 or so wineries that have been supporting us. We've raised over $750,000 in 3 years. And that all goes back to where obviously we got to pay for our event costs. But it's really going back to hospitality and vineyard worker, mental health and healthcare, as well as furthering kind of the Texas wine industry. We're working with Texas A&M on research projects for sustainable agriculture and farming, and a whole host of other things that we're planning. So it's been really cool to kind of be like, hey, we're throwing this new event that's something totally different than what we've been doing. And wineries have just been so excited. It's been really easy. They've had lots of questions, but I think they've been really excited to be, okay, yeah, we want to do that part. What else can we do? And how can we do something unique? So it's been kind of overwhelming. I think that outreach that's come into us, which has been great. And I think a really good sign that this is going to be successful year one, but also continue to grow from there.
Yeah. It's been interesting as we've gotten further into this and gotten the word out there more. Dave and I are both getting calls from wineries and other places that are like, you need to, we can't miss out. Oh my gosh, what's going on? Which is fun.
We want to be on the bandwagon too.
Yeah. So that's good. That's the reaction that we want. On the culinary side of things, it's really just me. I just made a list of all the food places and local chefs and everything around the Hill Country and just started calling them.
But once they understand the event, and it really is their opportunity to showcase what they do in front of a big group of people that are all their target market, right? It's all people that love food and wine. So that's really who we're going after, is that market. And, if you come and have the best bite you've ever had at Otto's that night before, you're going to come back and go to the restaurant.
Yeah.
So same thing with Helen Vine. And I mean, those partners are so amazing and they're incredibly giving. It's not what do we get out of this? It's like, we're in, tell me what I need to do. And they come up with even better ideas and really, we get the right group of people together and it just keeps getting better and better.
Yeah.
Crazier and crazier, but in a really good way that I think throws a great event that's going to be really unique.
Yeah. Everyone is so community minded here. And that's what, everybody who's involved is genuinely not like, what am I going to get out of this? They're just like, how do we support this new thing that you guys are doing? And how do we make sure that it's done really, really well? We want to be a part of it. So that's been really cool. And we have a great working committee too. So, I mean, that's aside from our steering committee, we have a working committee that is, a group of 15 or so people that are really, really hands-on and going to be instrumental in making sure we pull this off really well. So it's been really cool to see everybody step up and purely for no, they're not asking for anything in return, just want to help.
Well, I know earlier you gave us a little bit of a kind of theater of the mind walkthrough of what the show might look like, but are there going to be live culinary cooking demonstrations and things like that, or what can someone expect?
So for culinary demos, we'll start off with Leroy's Tex-Mex Barbecue. We'll be doing homemade butter tortillas. So everybody in the audience, I think we have roughly 30 seats. So again, there'll be actual tables with setups, and then each seat will have the ingredients to make a butter tortilla. Now, cooking those butter tortillas is not going to actually happen in that spot. So he will have pre-prepped a lot, but people will still be able to get their hands dirty. They'll also get little these wooden bowls that you need to make tortillas and get to keep that as a little goodie, a little token. And that'll be paired with one of our winery partners as well. So that's a whole experience. And then we'll have Antonelli's Cheese out of Austin, who is all over the Hill Country as well, and very philanthropic, very community focused. They'll be doing a wine and cheese pairing. And if you haven't done one of those, you totally should. You get this beautiful little plate of cheese and you don't think it's going to be enough, but it's perfect. And then after that, we'll have Mesquite at the Warehouse, which is a brand new upscale barbecue place opening up in the old Warner Warehouse building right next to Carol Hicks Bolton's Antiques. It's a small family, and they're not even open yet, but by the time this comes out, I think they might be. So that's exciting. And they're doing something elevated barbecue, very meat heavy. And then we'll have Jesse Griffiths with Daidue out of Austin. He is a wonderful educator in the culinary world. And I heard the other day somebody call him the fire guy. I don't know how true this is, but apparently he does everything just over open flame.
Really?
So,
Yeah,
you know,
he can basically just show up and cook you the best meal you've ever had.
Yeah.
With almost no tools. Like,
Yes.
it's pretty crazy.
yeah. So I'm really excited about him. I'm excited about all of them. And then we're working on a couple more. If I can figure out a way to squeeze them in, like Dave mentioned, we get a little bit too excited and try to pile it all on at once. So there might be more, but I think we'll end up having several culinary stages in 2025. And then on the beverage stage, we will have Hill Country Herb Garden. They have a herbalist on staff, which is cool. So she's going to do healthy. I guess legally, I can't say healthy cocktails.
Herb-driven cocktails.
Herb-driven cocktails.
Herb-driven cocktails. They
That
make
taste good will make you feel
flow. Yeah, exactly.
Healthy's in the eye of the
They
drinker,
reduce
you
the
know?
hangover. I don't know. You feel good. You're like drinking a green juice with vodka, basically. It's great. So that'll be really nice. And then we'll have a Blend It Like Becker competition. And have y'all been to a blending competition? You probably have.
No.
Have you?
Mm-hmm.
They're so fun.
Mm-hmm.
So y'all know how that is. So the Becker will divide people up into teams. People will get to blend their own wines, and they'll even get to make their own wine label and then be judged, and there'll be a prize and all the things. And then we have Albert Hotel. Like I mentioned before, from New Waterloo, they will be doing cocktails from all their new locations or all their new concepts in Fredericksburg. So we'll have something from Keitel that's inspired by Keitel Pharmacy, something inspired by the Saloon, by Albert, and then by June Bugs, which is their new barbecue concept opening up probably in 2025. And that I'm really excited about that barbecue spot. And then to end the cocktail or the craft beverage demos is Chase's Place, cocktail bar that's been around for a long time in Fredericksburg. I'm trying to pitch them on having a big ice luge of some kind so people can stick their head under or
Yeah.
I don't know if, again, legally can we do that, but by the end of the night, finale, let's just
TABC.
it doesn't matter. Let's just do it. So those are all the demos going on. And then there are more. So like I said, there's going to be a ton of other booths for culinary. So you'll have like your tables that are going to be handing out samples. But then aside from the demo stages, there's Revel Kitchen and Catering is going to have like their little bistro area, essentially, all cooking over open flame. And then Fredericksburg Cast Iron is partnering with Acre Barbecue to do smash burgers. There's a lot of interactive elements happening that are all included in your just GA badge. So I think people will get a ton of value out of their experience.
So we kind of hit on some of the food stuff. Let's think about the wine for a second, because I find personally, just as the average consumer, wine and food pairing can be challenging to a lot of people. It can be hard to figure out sometimes. For people that are coming that like wine, they like food, but they don't really know how to put that stuff together. Are there going to be kind of any educational opportunities or ways for people to learn about pairing food and wine?
I think the fun part of this is you're going to get so many opportunities to taste wine with different food that it's almost, again, we may something we could probably develop that would be really cool. So good idea.
Yeah, I was going to write that down.
But I think if you have an opportunity to taste 50,
Copyright Texas Under Vine.
yeah. Sponsored by Texas Under Vine.
we could figure that out. But if having 50 wineries and then food from 25 different chefs and all these unique opportunities, I think it's really going to be cool to see people go through and kind of taste a couple wines and then go out and get something to eat and come back and you're gonna walk through Market Plots 20 times during your time at the festival and get your steps in. But it's going to be it's kind of that like we're going to assault your senses with everything you can imagine, from smells to visually what it looks like to what it tastes like, and it's going to be just kind of crazy and fun. Right, I'm excited.
And we will have some food in the wine area. Halter Ranch, for example, recently opened up here, and they'll have they have a really delicious restaurant on site. So they'll, in their food, their wine area, they'll have their food area right by there too. And I would imagine that they're going to be intentional about what they're serving together. We're looking into different cheese partners and things like that. In the beer garden, we have pretzel necklaces to help cleanse palates in between tasting beers. So we're trying to stay very true to actual tasting. But yeah, we'll see how it goes this year. And I think that is a cool piece of programming for 2025 is to maybe have some more intentional education involved. And that's kind of what we're planning in the future. You know, this year's relatively small, but 2025, this will be a 3-day event happening at Marktplatz. So there'll be a lot more time to be able to dedicate to education and things like more smaller, more intimate experiences. And then we'll have over 50 off-site experiences happening throughout the Hill Country, similar to what we're doing for Preview Week, but all during the festival.
So who would you say is kind of the target audience you're trying to reach with the Food and Wine Festival? What's the demographic you're really trying to reach here?
Definitely people who care about wine. I think that's one of the differences too. Is this, yes, it's a party, but it's not just a party to go and get drunk at. Like people who are going to want to purchase a badge to this event are going to actually care about what they're drinking, where it comes from. Similar to you, they're going to want to really taste the experience in their mouth. You know what I mean? Not just toss a little 1 ounce pour of wine back. They'll want to taste it and learn about it. Same with the food aspect. So people who care about wine and food and really value a good experience. Age-wise, it's pretty big. I mean, 30s to 60s, I'd say, men and women.
It's an opportunity to meet those winemakers and the owners and the chefs, and I think that's a kind of a cool thing. That you go to a restaurant and you see the chef working like crazy back there, but you don't necessarily have time to sit down and talk to them. And I think this is going to be high volume as far as we're going to be pumping out lots of food to get people fed, but it's also an opportunity to sit there and actually interact with those people and understand, talk to the winemaker about why this blend is special or why that the Fredericksburg cast iron is great for smash burgers. Like it's a cool way to kind of go a little bit deeper than you would normally get in a traditional kind of setting.
And I think the Hill Country area is, especially the Wine Road 290 here, is a hugely prominent and upcoming wine corridor. It was listed, I've seen stats from a lot of different things, but VinePair magazine just within the last year came out with their top 10 places in the world that you need to go to travel for wine tourism. And out of all of the list, this is world, there were only 2 locations in the United States, and the Hill Country was one of those. And so having a food and wine festival that can promote those amazing Texas wines, the amazing producers that we have here, and those chefs and everything is hugely beneficial for elevating what we have here and what we know because we're here amongst it, but to really spread that out to the world as well and put a face on that. I think is important.
Yeah, and I think you're going to see, you're going to see Austin and San Antonio, folks come out, and they're here often, but you're going to see Houston. I think you'll see Dallas. I think you'll see a lot of people who really do come out and kind of make it a weekend, and eventually I think it becomes a week long of some of the coolest, most unique wine and food-driven events in the country. So it really is something I think people are going to want to be a part of year one. So in 5 years, they could be like, oh, I remember the first year when they did the Austin Street dinner and it was, 160 people, which we're going to sell out in like 2 seconds. It's going to be crazy. That we shut down a street for. I mean, my goal is we shut down a block in 3 or 4 years. So
my goal is we shut off Main Street,
which would be awesome.
Would be so cool.
Down Main Street,
just like the Christmas parade. But we just shut it down for a couple hours, crank out a 5-course dinner.
It'd be awesome.
So good. That'll happen.
So what kind of economic impact do you think this festival can really have on the local community here? You talked a little bit about the charity, the stuff work that you're going to be doing, the 501c3. And so what do you see as the hopefully economic impact on the area?
The way I see it, this is way more than just a one-day party or festival, right? If Food and Wine is a 501c3 organization, to me that means programming year-round. So for sure, I think Preview Week will always be a thing. The festival will always be a thing, but I see this as an organization developing programs similar to a traditional nonprofit where it's always, centered around entertaining and driving tourism and giving back to the community. But also, how do we just engage wineries, culinary, the culinary scene, et cetera, in a way that helps keep them always innovating and thinking outside the box, which again just drives people traveling here. I want to keep the conversation going year round. And that's another thing that sets us apart in this festival. When you're a part of it, it's not just, hey, we're going to put up a pull-up banner and you'll have a couple pictures and that's it from a marketing perspective. This conversation will be year round. It will live on Instagram. It will live on Facebook. We'll be emailing people year round on our website. So just like the organic conversation that will be happening online around this festival, even just this first year, I think will help boost tourism for Fredericksburg year round.
And it really models the kind of core messaging of the chamber, right? And of the city. It's we want to be hospitable. We want to bring business here. We want to put people, instead of staying for one night, staying 2 nights, staying 3 nights. If you have a new hotel that's opening or an Airbnb, right, we want to help you fill those beds and hopefully fill them at a higher price point than you would get on average, right? Because I think having something that's, I think, elevated in style and execution and quality allows us to, again, go after a not necessarily a different demographic, but people that don't mind coming in and going around and spending money at the shops downtown and coming back and visiting those wineries and restaurants that they enjoyed so much on their kind of sneak peek. So it gives us an opportunity to, I think, do what's right for the town, but do it in a way that's done really well and that is supportive of the locals and the local businesses. I think that's where the partnership with the chamber was really, really smart. Because it allows us to go out to those chamber members and provide them value as much as we possibly can. And again, I think that just grows exponentially from here on out.
Even like down to the vendors we use, like stuff that you might not see behind the scenes, janitorial, rentals, all that stuff, we're using chamber members. So we're always supporting, trying to be as locally minded as possible in every aspect of this festival, which I think is really cool. And then, of course, on our website and on social, we'll have an accommodations page. So as a chamber member, if you have Airbnbs, if you're a hotel, if you have yurts, tiny homes, all the things available for people to come and rent, we'll list you on our recommended accommodations page, and you'll have a profile and direct link to your website. Same with transportation services, tour buses. I probably don't have capacity to do this year, but eventually I want to have guides, curated guides to Fredericksburg. So plan your weekend during the festival, plan your week during the festival, and here's all the things you can do depending on your interests. If you only drink red wine, here are the wineries that you should hit while you're here. If you're only rosé, if you're a sweet wine person, all the things. So we'll eventually, I think we'll be able to provide a lot of value that way.
Yeah. So it goes beyond just the festival time itself.
Yeah.
How do you measure success? How will you feel like this festival is a success?
Sell it out.
I was going to say break even.
No, I think getting that kind of critical mass is going to be one of the ways that we gauge success.
Yeah.
Is if I think there's a lot of the culinary stage, if you expect 3,000 to 5,000 people and you only have seating for 30, we know we're going to sell those out. Those tickets are going to go really fast. Street dinner is something so unique and so kind of cool, right? It's going to go really fast. So I think VIP badges and hoping that the target market and the consumers really kind of vibe with what we've created and what we're offering, I think will be the easiest to gauge in ticket sales. But also I think it's right. Did we take care of the chefs? Did we take care of the wineries? Did they have fun? Did they get value? Did they have a good time? Because there's plenty of options to go, donate to things. There's a never ending option. But I think what we've seen so far and the feedback we've gotten has been so kind of crazy, overwhelmingly positive that we're excited. And I think that's why Hayley's taking on so much to make it as big and awesome as possible year one as she can possibly, to possibly pull off. And why I think all the steering committee and the working committee are so committed to donating their time and making sure that, we're not just, oh, you should do this. And then we run away. It's like, well, we should do this and I'll be there and we'll do it together. And I think that's for success, especially year one, it gains, I think, internally a lot of confidence that we're a group of people that don't just say we're going to do something, we do it. And I think was really smart by Hayley and Jim to kind of handpick the right people. Because we've got some people that are very smart and very dedicated to making Fredericksburg the best it possibly can be.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Are there any kind of chefs or wineries or things that you're just personally really excited that they're a part of it that you want to share?
I mean, genuinely, like all of the wineries that are doing larger activations, I'm all really excited about. Augusta Vin, their VIP lounge is going to be really, really beautiful. Not to mention air-conditioned restrooms, which is always a bonus.
Yeah.
But they'll be able to pour larger pours in there of their estate wine. They create such a beautiful experience. I'm excited about what that's going to look like. Same with Heath. Signor is one of my personal favorites. I just think it's one of the most beautiful wineries in the Hill Country. So I'm really excited about that. And some of the smaller up and coming wineries, because I think it's such a cool opportunity for them to play with the bigger guys and get some good exposure. Halter Ranch, I'm really excited about because they're newbies. And then I'm a huge foodie. So I literally am excited about all the food.
And a lot of the chefs that are doing the main festival are also doing preview week events and again, are doing things to kind of, you got to talk about the case off and some of the things that'll already be passed when this goes out.
The case off? You're coming to all the events, aren't you?
But it's really cool because Hill and Vine I'm such a huge fan of, and they do such a good job day in and day out. But you get to, talk to Mike and it's like, Mike, what if we did this? And he's like, oh, that's a great idea. Let me figure it out. And it's just, we get real nerdy about stuff. And me personally, it's fun I get nerdy on wine all the time. So it's really fun. My background is more food and beverage and restaurants and all kinds of stuff. So it's really fun to be like that chef front of house, back house relationship is really cool. And I don't want to go do that 7 days a week, 15 hours a day ever again.
Me neither.
But having a little taste of it for me is super fun. And I would say I'm really excited about that. That Austin Street dinner is going to be, I think, something the town's never seen.
Yeah.
And I think the chefs are all really pushing to do something that is special. And I think they're putting kind of their heart and soul into it. So it's going to be really cool to see them kind of, there's a little bit of competition there of like,
totally.
I'm going to one up you and you're going to one up me. And again, ultimately, everybody that's sitting at a table eating is the one that wins.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is cool to see how excited all the chefs are because they're usually like back of house, right? You don't really get to talk to them. A lot of them are really shy, and that's why they've chosen not a profession. But once you get,
they
get
work with
them out
food,
of their
not
shell,
people.
they're so excited though. Like, again, I can't say enough good things about Mike Hall with Hill and Vine. He's just a gem. Max with Revel too. Max and Marisa, they own Revel Kitchen and Catering, a really well-known catering company out in the Hill Country, and they're about to open coming soon. I don't know. They'll be fine with this. They're a restaurant 3 days a week called El Quincho. And that's going to be something that people haven't ever seen before. The way they're styling that, and more to come on that, but that'll be really exciting. But they have a lot going on all the time, and they're pouring their heart and soul into this because they really, really believe in what this could do for Fredericksburg. So a lot of really passionate behind the scenes people. That's what the best part about all of this, the people, that it makes me want to eat their food.
Yeah. And it'll drive, this type of event helps put Fredericksburg kind of on the map as a culinary destination. So it will only attract more talented people, more people that want to, we've got a Culinary Institute of America in San Antonio. Instead of everybody going from there to Austin or Dallas, right, or Houston, they're going to start coming up this way and kind of see that, what we're doing, not that it has to be fancy or expensive, but it's done really, really well. And I think when you talk about corn dogs, it's like, you can make a mediocre corn dog, you can make the best corn dog somebody's ever had.
I love corn dogs.
Yeah, well, me too. And I think that's one of the cool things about this type of event is it allows these kind of up-and-coming chefs and winemakers to share what they do on a scale that they wouldn't normally get, and to get out of, right, this is October, so we'll just be finishing up harvest, hopefully, if it's not the world's longest harvest like it was last year. But these winemakers can come out and actually talk to people and hang out with people and understand what people like about their wines or don't like about their wines. And I think that's something they don't do as much of as they'd like, and this is a great excuse to do something really fun and showcase what they put their heart and soul into.
And it might get them in front of an audience that they typically aren't in front of, not necessarily people that are coming to the wineries, but to a different audience of people there and getting exposure there. I like that. So what are some of your top tips for attendees to get the most out of this festival?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Get your tickets early. I'll say that. The tickets I genuinely think tickets are going to go fast. So especially for some of the culinary demo stages and stuff like that, VIP tickets, make sure you jump online and order them as soon as humanly possible, because
we're putting a cap on a lot because, again, we want to keep it small, intentional, do it really well. So I think VIP will go quick because there aren't a ton. The Friday night street dinner will go immediately. Demo stages, there aren't a ton of spots for those, so those will go quick. The brunch will go. All the small events will go quick.
So get on it quick.
Skip breakfast.
Yeah.
Or go to brunch.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say come
shut your
Thursday.
website down.
Yeah. No, I think people are gonna have a really good time, and I would say, weather permitting, it's hopefully gonna be beautiful, and we'll have all kinds of covered areas, and it's really something that I think, come expecting a really good time. Stay overnight. Don't try and drive home to Austin after this. It's not a good choice.
Yeah, I would say book a room.
Yeah.
Book your room the same time you buy your ticket. Because while there are a lot of places to stay, they will be filling up fast.
And make it a weekend trip. Come stay Friday, Saturday, Sunday. There's a million things to do. There's all these wineries are open. They're all going to be excited. If you go visit them on Friday and then come to it's just going to make them happy.
Yeah.
Book dinner with one of the culinary partners.
Safe ride.
Yeah, go have some fun. So it's going to be really, really fun, and I think educational and unique. And I'm really excited to kind of share that with people. And I think we're going to get an overwhelmingly positive response.
I'd say for girls, bring one of those crossbody bags or a fanny pack situation because you want both hands for wine and food.
There you go.
I'm just thinking about what I would need.
Oh, yeah, right.
Like when I went to Charleston Wine and Food, I didn't bring anything. And that's the beauty of this type of festival too, is you buy everything ahead of time. So you don't have to, you're not pulling out your wallet. We'll have a sundry shop that you could shop at, but other than that, everything's included. So you just need your hands to drink and eat with, and then you're good. But yeah.
Well, let's get to the nitty gritty details. So we've kind of talked about it being in October. What are the actual dates? How do people get tickets? Things like that.
The street dinner is on October 25th.
Okay.
The actual festival is October 26th. People can get tickets at fbgfoodandwine.com. Follow us on Instagram, of course, and Facebook. We're pretty active on both. The best way to get notified first about things genuinely is our newsletter. I like to take care of my newsletter, people. I won't overwhelm you, but I will give you little treats for subscribing. So you might get a couple hours heads up. You might get 24-hour heads up, and that might be genuinely the make or break of whether you're going to get in or not to an event, since they're so limited. So I would recommend doing that.
Are tickets on sale now?
Yes, they are on sale right now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you go get online right now if you haven't already and get those tickets and make your room reservations.
Yes.
Make your room reservations.
And on the website, you mentioned you have a listing of the different places where they can go get a room if they need to find partners to find a place to stay.
Yep. We'll have a list of accommodations as well as safe rides, recommended places to make reservations at, things like that.
Now, I was lucky to be able to attend several of their preview week events that they held just a couple of weeks ago in July. And if what we had there is any sense of what we're going to see in October, you are in for a treat. They had some amazing food. They had great wines, great fun cocktails. I really enjoyed all of the different preview events I was able to attend. And I was even sitting next to, at one of the events, a winemaker from Sonoma who was blown away with the presentation of the dinner and of the servings, the wines and all of that. She said, this really feels like a type of event that you would find in Napa or Sonoma or things. So Hayley, again, is really focused on getting this to be a really elevated luxury type of event. Now, the badges and tickets are on sale now. They went on sale during the preview week, and I know they were starting to go fast, so you got to jump on it. If you're wanting to attend this, don't hesitate. Make sure you go out and get your badges, you get your tickets, plan your whole weekend stay. As Hayley and Dave said, they have a list on their website where you can actually go out and find all your travel information, your lodging, anything that you may need to really make a weekend out of it. Now, the festival itself is going to be on October 26th, 2024. That preview dinner they're going to have the night before is on the 25th. And as you heard in the interview, Hayley's got a lot of great events planned outside of even just the regular event. You can get tickets for all of those. So make sure to check out their website for all of those tickets and all that information for that weekend of the 25th and the 26th. And for even more info, make sure you follow them on Instagram, on their Facebook accounts, and sign up for that newsletter. As Hayley said, you won't be disappointed. She'll give you a lot of great information there, as well as maybe some chances to some early bird kind of stuff. And watch this space and look for me out at the festival. I'm going to try to be out there and do some live on-site interviews, some things I've not done before on a podcast like this, but I'm hoping to interview maybe some of the chefs and the winemakers and maybe even some listeners out there while I'm at the festival. So it's going to be a great event, and I hope to see many of you listeners out there. Make sure you find me if you see me there. Now, to get all of the juicy details, to be able to purchase those badges, I know you're anxiously waiting, you're going to want to go to their website. It's www.fbgfoodandwine.com. So that's fbgfoodandwine.com for Fredericksburg fredericksburgfoodandwine.com. So go out there. You're going to find information about the schedule of events. You'll be able to find your tickets and badges. You can order those right there on the website. You'll find ways to get involved if you'd like to do that. And again, that information on the local travel places and lodging and things like that, everything that you're going to need for that weekend, you'll be able to find there on that website. All right. Well, that is the newly revamped Fredericksburg Food and Wine Festival. I hope you're as excited about it as I am, counting down the days until October gets here so I can check it out. And again, hope to bring you some live information from the festival that I record on site. But until that time, I would ask if you might do me a favor. So I really need ratings and reviews for my podcast. I only have a handful of them, and they really help me get the word out to others. So if you're enjoying any of these episodes and things like that, would you go out to wherever you get the podcast? And it's primarily on YouTube. You can go in and like, subscribe, and follow, leave comments about the episode there. And then if you listen to it, the audio version on any podcast service, you can go and do a rating and review there as well. So if you would do that for me, it really helps me to get seen by other people who could benefit from this information. And if you'd like to become a patron of the show, to help me cover the costs that I have for bringing this amazing show to you, then you can go to my website at www.texasundervine.com. Go to the very top. There should be a little link that says Become a Patron, and it will take you to my Patreon site. For just a few dollars a month, you'll get access to bonus materials and things like that. And it'll help me cover all the costs that I have for this show. And be on the lookout for current Patreon subscribers. Thank you so much. And for new Patreon subscribers, I'm about to start adding some new benefits and some new things up there. So if you're already a Patreon subscriber, again, thank you so much. You're going to see some fun new things coming to you. And then if you're thinking about subscribing, go ahead and jump on the boat. So you'll be jumping in and getting some of that stuff as well. Can't really talk about it yet, but I promise it's coming. All right, well, that's my time for today. So now I got to get back on track of heading out to some great wine destinations and bring you some more good locations and info. So I'm going to head out on the road. But until then, subscribe to the podcast, follow my socials to be notified anytime there's a new episode. And until then, happy trails and bottoms up, y'all. Thanks for listening to Texas Under Vine. We strive to provide you with the best information about wine businesses all over Texas. Be sure to check out our website at texasundervine.com and follow us on our socials at texasundervine to stay up on all the upcoming episodes. Please email us with any suggestions or feedback. Also, contact us if you're interested in donating, sponsoring, or advertising on the podcast, just to help us cover our expenses and bring even more great info to you in future episodes. Above all, travel safely, and most especially, drink responsibly. Howdy, Vine Trippers. Did you know that I now have a merchandise store for Texas Under Vine? I only have a handful of limited items, but you can go check those out and wear your Texas Under Vine swag if you'd like to tell all your friends about the great wine locations we have here in Texas and maybe get them interested in the podcast as well. So there are things like t-shirts, there's a hoodie, there's a beanie, a ball cap, things like that. But one of the most exciting things I have right now is my limited time offer t-shirt. That's my Season 1 t-shirt. So this is your Tasting Through Texas, Texas Under Vine Season 1 t-shirt. It's only going to be available for a little short amount of time. On the back, it has all the different locations like a band tour t-shirt. So this is a limited time item and you can go out and get it now. And one of the great things about that t-shirt is a portion of every sale goes to support the Texas Hill Country Winery Scholarship Fund. So you know that by buying that t-shirt, you're also investing in the growing and flourishing of an amazing wine industry here in Texas and all of those people that are going to come and make it even better. Check out that merchandise store. It's on my website at texasundervine.com. Just go up to the top. You'll see the link for the merchandise store.